Hi and welcome to this lesson on the changing role of children. So today we're going to look at how childhood is socially constructed and we're going to look at how the role of children has changed over time. So what I would like as a starter is to have a little think about, is childhood today worse than it was 100 years ago? So think about all the influences that you maybe have now, some positive, some negative. Think about what they would have been over 100 years ago. Do you think things are better today for children? So we're going to start off with a sociologist called Ares, who basically argued that childhood is a social construction. So by this he means that childhood as an idea was created. So before this, before the 16th and 17th century, children were seen as mini adults. So they had the same rights and responsibilities. They would be expected to earn a wage. You could get married at quite a young age. Children would go into prisons, things like this. So you were seen as an adult. Child labour was quite common. There was very little laws there to protect children. Up until kind of after the Industrial Revolution, when children started working in factories, they then put in some laws there to protect children from those kind of things. And we had mass education as well. So once children were in school, it meant then that children were becoming dependent more on adults because they weren't earning their own wages. And up till now, it now lasts until 18 because this is how long you're in school for. So, changes over the decades then. So since the Victorian times, obviously things have changed for children. Laws have been passed to give specific kind of protections to children under 18. So, what I'd like you to think about is, how many laws can you think about that protect you as a child or as a young person? So what kind of things are in place to stop you being exploited, being harmed? So I've come up with 4, but there are a lot more. So see if you came up with the same kind of things. So I came up with free schooling. So the fact that you are all entitled to free compulsory schooling protects you. It means you're in a safe place for most of the time. You know, you are all being given the same level of education and it is protecting you. Child protection laws, so these are things about, you know, safety, child abuse, child neglect, things like that. So, yeah. Employment laws, so again, you can't be made to work more than a certain hours at particular ages. You know, you can't have 8-year-olds up chimneys anymore. And age restrictions, so I would argue that a lot of age restrictions on games, films, music are there really to protect young people. So, what I would like you to think about is, do you think all children are equally protected? So think about children in other societies, other places around the world. Are they protected as well? So what I would like you to do for this is to do a bit of a research test to find an example of children from another country that maybe, are they getting the same level of protection? Are they not? And be ready to share this in a future lesson. So are children all equally being protected? So you could think about child labour in other countries, children in war, children soldiers, things like that. Child-centred families. So how things have changed then. So with all these changes, it's been argued that we live in something called a child-centred society. This just means that a lot of our society now focuses around the well-being of children. So living standards have risen, families are smaller, parents spend more time with you, spend more money on you than they previously would have. And Ares, going back to the person from earlier, said that the 20th century is the century of the child, as the child is now the focus of most families. But on the other hand, so do you think, is everything better for children now? Have you all got it cushy? Is it amazing? Because there are a lot of arguments, if you look at some of the pictures, I've tried to give you some ideas of maybe why things might not be better. So, for instance, the bras thing at the bottom, you might think, well, you know, some girls develop younger, which is fair enough, but these are padded bras. Should children at a certain young age be wearing padding? So, you know, have a little think. Do you think things are better for children? What would you argue? So, some evaluation then is that not all children experience childhood the same. So, you know, things like social class, ethnicity, gender, all of those things are going to have an impact on how you experience your childhood. Poorer children are still more likely to die in childhood. And the articles on the side kind of support that argument. And the UK still has one of the highest alcohol abuse rates for teenagers and still has comparatively quite high rates of teen pregnancy in the UK compared to other European countries. So, what Postman has argued, so Postman is a sociologist, he has argued that we are experiencing something called a disappearance of childhood. So, this basically means that children are becoming more like adults. So, he blames TV, the media, things like that. And I could see his argument. There are definitely 13, 14, 15-year-olds that can do much better makeup than I could. All of these pressures for, from the media of how you look, things that you're exposed to now do make young people feel a lot more adult perhaps than they would have previously. It might also be watching inappropriate things from an early age. I was reading a study not long ago where they were talking about the impact of and how frequently children see pornography, and from such an early age, because obviously everyone has smartphones. It's easier to gain access to these things, and computer games as well. So, I think we've talked about it in lessons. People think it's quite normal to play things like Grand Theft Auto from quite a young age, but there's quite a lot of adult themes in that should young children really be being exposed to. And this is quite a nice example to use. So child beauty pageants. So quite big in America. We have had a couple here, but they're not as big here. So the Miss Glitz Sparkle was a UK beauty pageant in 2012. And this girl here in the picture is 20 months old. And she's wearing makeup. There was a swimsuit round as well. And a lot of people have argued, particularly child welfare charities, that this is sexualising young girls. But the organisers said, no, it just promotes confidence. So this one is very much, what is your opinion on this? What do you think? Is it okay for children this young to be wearing makeup and swimsuits and, parading up and down stages? Or is it not okay? So what do you think? So your final bit, and this is what I would like emailed to me, is write a short paragraph or argument for or against the following statement. Children are growing up too quickly today. What do you think? Do you agree? Do you disagree? Do you think actually you're more protected today? You've got, you're not having to go out and work in coal mines, in factories, you're not getting married at 13? Or is it, yes, they are growing up too quickly. You're being exposed to a lot of adult things, dressing a lot more maybe provocatively than you would have in previous generations. So, I would like by next lesson, this being emailed to me. I will be interested to read your answers. I'm quite looking forward to it. So let me know if you have any issues or worries. And yeah, I hope to speak to you soon. Bye.